Good afternoon, everybody. It's me again, Ernie, with another Blu-ray review, movie review. It's Remembrance Sunday today, the 8th of November. The reason we're having it today is because obviously on the 11th of the 11th is when Remembrance Sunday or Remembrance Day is known for, but they always have it the nearest Sunday. So I thought I'd do a quick review of the 10 or 11, of my opinion, best World War II, World War One films made since the wars happened. Some are good, some are old, some are new, some are modern, some are classics. I can talk about the old stuff as well. I'm going to start off with number one. This starred Sir Alec Guinness, William Holden, and Jack Hawkins. We are talking about Bridge on the River Kwai. They're all these are true stories, so you'll get the gist. Bridge on the River Kwai, obviously Alex Guinness plays a British marshal, like general, and there's a lot of prisoner of wars in this Japanese camp, and the Japanese want them to build a bridge over this river, and they get tortured. It's set made in the 50s, but obviously it's set around World War Two. It's pretty brutal for its year. It's not overly brutal compared to nowadays standards. It's a classic. It's a bit overlong for my opinion, but it's good. It shows you what the Japanese side of the war was like, because they were quite nasty with, and they sided with the Germans. So if you ever get a chance to see it on the TV or if it pops up on Sky, I recommend Bridge on the River Kwai. That's number one. Number two is made in the 60s by Stanley Kramer, who did Mad Mad World, and it's by F. Zanuck. It's a massive, huge cast, absolutely huge, based on the D-Day landings. We're talking about The Longest Day. John Wayne's in it, Gregory Peck, I think Sean Connery's in it as well, Henry Fonda. There's absolutely massive stars in this. It's filmed in black and white, and it's all about the Normandy landings at all over there, Pegasus, D-Day landings, Gold Beach, Silver Beach, everything. And it was a massive, huge, long film, but you get drawn into it. The characters are amazing. It's all true. It's one of the best war movies they said ever made. I've been to Normandy Beach this year. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was a poignant to, just to see everything. It was quite heartbreaking, but it's something you have to do. And I'd recommend, if you ever get a chance, Longest Day. It's always on Film 4 in the afternoon, so get a chance to watch it. Give it a go. It's nearly 4 hours long though, so it's quite a long one, but it's a classic. There is a colorized version on the internet. Someone's colorized it. Apparently it was filmed in colour and black and white, but they decided to release it in black and white because it had more of an impact. So if you get a chance to see Longest Day, go for it. That's number two. These are in no particular order, just how I'm going through the ones. Number three is another British one. This is British actually. It's set on made in the late 60s. Michael Caine's in it. Lovejoy, as in Ian McShane's he's very young in this. He's in it. I'll read some of the stars. Harry Andrews, Michael Caine, Trevor Howard, Kurt Jurgens, Kenneth Moore, Laurence Olivier, Christopher Plummer, Michael Redgrave, Ralph Richardson, Robert Shaw, Patrick Wymark, Susanna York, Nigel Patrick. We are talking about the legendary Battle of Britain. Great film. I watched this last year with Richard, my other half. He loves the film. It's all about how we nearly got took over by the Germans. If the Germans would have invaded and won, none of us would be where we are today. But the Battle of Britain is a humongous. The air fights are fantastic. I know Top Gun did it years ago, but this is original aerial footage. It's great. If you ever get a chance to see Battle of Britain, go for it. Another long 131 minutes. So that's number three. Number four, again, there was a battle in the World War Two called Market Garden, and if you listen to the history books, it was a flop. It should never have happened, but it did. We're talking about Richard Attenborough's Bridge Too Far. Now, as a film, I really didn't like this because it was all over the place. It was jumping from one thing to another. There was no twists of plot. You know, even though it's true, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know who was fighting what, because for me it was a mishmash of ideas put in the wrong way. It's a great film. It's good to look at. It's amazing, all the scenes and everything. It's quite a long one again, 168 minutes long. Big star cast in it, from Gene Hackman right through to Robert Redford, right through to Sean Connery. Dirk Bogart's in it as well. And it's a classic. It's a 70s classic, but I personally didn't like that one. So if you ever get a chance, these are all for Remembrance Sunday if you're in the mood for a good war film. Alright, that's number 4, I think, or 5. Next one, I picked this up in Spain a couple of years back on a Blu-ray. It's a cheap thing, so I thought I'll get it in a deal. Now, it was a remake of a film and a remake of a TV series starring Tom Hardy in one of his earlier roles and Damian Lewis, who was in Homeland. And it's got Jason Priestley and Sophia Myles. There is a remake, and we're talking about Colditz. Now, again, it was a made-for-TV thing over so many nights, and it's 185 minutes long, so it's quite a long film. But I've not seen it yet, but I've heard very good reports on it. It's going to be coming to ITV 2 or 3 in a couple of months or less. So if you get a chance to catch it, that's Colditz, starring Tom Hardy and Damian Lewis. So give that a go. That's number 5. Number 6 and 7 are back-to-back, what we call bookends. Now, I talked about this on my last video. Clint Eastwood wanted to make his version of a World War II film, and he came up with an idea. Instead of doing one film, he'll do 2, and you can see it from both sides. The first one is Flags of Our Fathers, which again, it's about the iconic image of the GIs trying to raise the flag in Iwo Jima, and the people on it in the film were not the people who did the flag, because the press turned up and government said, right, we want to take some people back to the US, do a tour and promote the war, to buy bombs and fund the war. And the people who were raising the flag wanted to just fight, they didn't want to be involved, so they took these rookies and dragged them back to America and made them go on this tour. The rookies didn't like it. They didn't like the way they were treated. Even though they're like rock stars and pop stars of the day, they found out what was going on. It wasn't how it was supposed to be. It's a pretty good film. It's not a fantastic film, but it's one of Clint's alright ones. It's worth watching, but that's Flags of Our Fathers. And then he made, at the same time, a film called Letters from Iwo Jima, based from the Japanese side of a Japanese general and his young rookie soldier, and it's seen through his eyes and his diaries and how he sees the war. And this got more praise than the other one. This was Oscar nominated, the other one wasn't. And you see both sides of the story, so you can get a feel for it. That's Letters from Iwo Jima. Thank you. Now, the next one up is another World War II one. This is seen from the Polish side of the war, because Germany invaded Poland. That's what started it all off. Now, we're talking about Mr. James Bond himself, Daniel Craig. He made a film with Liev Schreiber and Tom Bell called Defiance. True story about a group of Polish rebels who rescued a village full of people before the Germans got there, and then hid in the forests of Poland and survived for over 4 years while the war was going on. And it's all about how their conflict and how they view the war, and the Germans were looking for them and everything. And it's a cracking little film. It's a bit like, slightly, if you think of Robin Hood and his merry men, they're the rebels. They have to nick food and everything to survive, and there's conflict in the group because not everyone wants to be a leader. And it's a really, really good film. It's underrated a lot. It's worth checking out. That's Defiance. Also, another one I'm checking out, because I've not got it here, but I'll talk about another 2. The War Horse. I have got The War Horse on download from a copy that I had. It's on my hard drive. That's a World War One film about a horse, and Mr. Cumberbatch is in it, Benedict. And it's a really, really good film. Spielberg made it. An amazing film. Another one, if you get a chance to look out for, is Enemy at the Gates. Bob Hoskins, Ed Harris and Jude Law. that scene from the Russian side of it, and that's another good film. Very, very good. Right, moving on, I've got three more quickly. Next one is another true story. Mr. Tom Cruise himself and Bryan Singer of the X-Men fame decided to do their version of Valkyrie, which is from the German side of it. It's about a group of German rebel soldiers who don't agree with what Hitler's doing. They don't like Hitler. They don't agree with his politics and everything to do with it. And they are trying to infiltrate and kill Hitler in various ways. It's a great film. Tom Cruise really steals it. It's good. Terence Stamp's in it, as is, I can't remember his name, the one in a Full Monty. I'll get his name somewhere. Tom Wilkinson. And Eddie Izzard's in it as well. It's a cracking film. If you ever want to watch a good film, Valkyrie is brilliant. I recommend that. Right, I've got two more. These two are really good, both by the same director. This one I've never seen. I've only seen bits of it, and I'm going to watch it this week. I've decided I'm going to try and give it a go. We're talking Liam Neeson and Ben Kingsley in Steven Spielberg's Schindler's List. This is the Spanish DVD release, because when I go to Spain I get a lot of films that I go there. And all about Oscar Schindler, which is Ben Kingsley. He owns a factory in Germany, and it's seen from the Jewish side of the war. And he's basically, he's been told by the Germans that he's got to make guns, bullets, anything to do with war instead of pots and pans, what he was used to making. But the Germans want to get all the Jewish workers out, kill them all. But Oscar tries rescuing as many as he can, says, I need these to do this and work that. And it's all about Schindler and how he basically saves all these Jews from the concentration camps and the gas chambers. And Ralph Fiennes is in it as a German officer who is one of them. I've only ever seen the bits with him on clips, and he's, pardon the French, he's one of the most nastiest bastards I've ever seen on screen. He's got no remorse, nothing. And he's the one scene that always sticks in my mind that I've seen the clip of is where he wakes up after sleeping with one of the Jewish women who he basically rapes. He gets up, goes to the window, and all the Jews are in this courtyard of this prison camp where he works, and he just picks up a gun and starts shooting them for no reason because he's bored. And it's shocking ain't the word, but I've seen bits of it, as I said, and bits I've seen are frightening. But I've heard it's very sombre, so I'm going to try and watch it one day. That's Schindler's List. The last one is another Spielberg one, which obviously you've all going to guess what it is. You've guessed by now. It's Saving Private Ryan. Tom Hanks, Matt Damon, Vin Diesel, Tom Wilkinson, not Tom Wilkinson, Tom, he was in the Heat, I can't remember, American guy. I'll get his name actually, do it for you now. Edward Burns, Matt Damon, Tom Sizemore, that's it. And Matt Damon's in it. And it's basically about a bloke called Ryan. But what happened is Ryan and his three brothers at the beginning are all different parts of Germany and England and everywhere fighting this war. And three of his brothers are killed, and there's only one left. And one of the sergeants thinks, well, we can't have a bloodline severed. We have to bring him home no matter what it costs, because that family will not live on. That's the premise. So they hire Tom Hanks, who's one of the army sergeants, and a group of rookies have to go to the Normandy beaches, get through that, and try and find Ryan somewhere in France and rescue him and bring him back. Now, everybody talks about the first half an hour of the movie, and it's true. It is the most, I can't use the word amazing, but it is amazing because your eyes get this show, this visceral show of what it would be like in a war. And it is frightening. It scared the shit out of me watching the beginning. It's gory, it's violent, it's deafening. Watching it on Blu-ray, it's just fantastic surround sound. They get it. I've never been, but they nail it. I had a friend, Richard had a friend, and we did in Ingleton, where we have a caravan in Yorkshire called Jack. old Jackie was from Liverpool and he lived in England all his life. And he was in Normandy. He actually survived the Normandy beach landings. And Richard was telling me that he spoke with Jack one night after Jack had been invited to the Yorkshire premiere to see the film. And he came out crying his eyes out and said it was so true. He got it exact. Jack said it's the... You can't say the best film. It is an amazing movie to watch, but it's hard to watch, especially if you've had family who've lived through war. He said it is heartbreaking. I've seen the film a couple of times. It's a fantastic movie. Everyone has a... The cast is just brilliant. And the war scenes and the war battles, not just the beginning as they're going on, are well worth your ticket. So I recommend anybody who's got a heart, who's got a conscience, watch Saving Private Ryan. It will open your eyes up to humanity and what we are like as a people. Because at the end of the day is, we're all on this planet, and if it wasn't for people depicted in films like this and in the ones I've said about, we wouldn't be here. These people lay their lives on the line so that we could live as we are now and live in the comfort and the, should I say, the customs we are known to have now. We're used to having this: TVs, iPhones, iPads, this, that and the other. If the war would have been lost, it would have been a different world than what we're in now. So people like this who lay their lives on the line, even in modern day war, I salute you. Simple as that. And God rest your souls of everyone who's passed away. Their job's done. It's our job now to make sure the world stays the way it is. Message over. Hope you enjoyed a little Blu-ray rant on Remembrance Day. Speak to you all soon. Try for now. Bye.